Libraries Grow with Google event. Thank you for joining us for this Lunch and Learn watch party. The program should be starting in a few seconds, so just stand by.
Hello and welcome to today's Partner Digital Series event, Drive Traffic to Your Website with SEO, hosted by Grow with Google. Grow with Google helps people grow their skills, careers, and businesses by offering free digital skills, training, and tools. I'm Jason, and I lead an internal SEO team here at Google. On behalf of the entire team, I'd like to thank everyone for attending. I'd also like to give a special shout out to Grow with Google partners for sharing this event with people in their communities and hosting virtual viewing parties. Chapin Chamber of Commerce, Mississippi Gulf Coast SBDC, Humboldt Chamber of Commerce, and the Basalt Regional Library District. At the end of today's workshop, we'll answer some common questions about SEO. So be sure to stay tuned. If you have any additional questions that you'd like our team to answer, be sure to use the Q&A section below the video player by clicking the blue button that says Ask a Question. We will reply to some of them directly in the Q&A section during the workshop or shortly after the virtual event concludes. We also encourage you to use the chat feature for any comments you may have and also to engage with other attendees who are watching the session. This chat will be available to those who opt in and can be found directly to the right of the video player on your screen. If you would like to access the additional resources for this class, check out the resources section below the video player on the right-hand side. This includes a copy of today's presentation. You will also be able to access a replay of this virtual event in the future by clicking On Demand on the Grow with Google on-air homepage. Also, don't forget to post and share on social using hashtag Grow with Google. And finally, you also have the option to turn on YouTube's closed captioning to follow along. To do so, click the closed captioning button directly on the video player on your screen. Now, let's get started. Just about everyone who has a website asks this question: how can I get my website to show up in a Google search? The goal for today's workshop is to offer some strategies to help your site show up in search. How do people find your business? Decades ago, they might have used the Yellow Pages, a book full of phone numbers for local merchants sorted by category. Someone looking for an accountant, a clothing store, a bakery, any good or service would let their fingers do the walking through the Yellow Pages. Now, the search for information like that almost certainly starts online. You're here because you want to bring more customers to your website. So we're going to talk about how search engine optimization, or SEO, can help. We'll go over some basics and offer insights into how to assess your website and update it to be more search friendly. Today, I will explore what is search engine optimization, content SEO strategies, how improving content on your site improves its visibility in the search results, technical SEO strategies, how improving technical aspects of your site, like the structure and HTML code, can help. We'll include a few activities to get you a bit of hands-on experience optimizing your website. And finally, we'll do a quick recap with key takeaways and additional resources to learn more. One caveat: this workshop is based on publicly available information that our team believes to be true. We don't have a specialized connection to the search team, so the content may become inaccurate and results are not guaranteed. You already know that your website is a pretty valuable way to connect with your customers and audience. More and more, people start their shopping journey online by typing in a search. It's important that your business show up in relevant search results so you can attract new potential customers. That's why many marketers spend time working on search engine optimization. So what is it exactly? Search engine optimization, SEO, is simply creating or adjusting your website so that a search engine like Google can find it easily and understand its content accurately. Let's take a step back to understand how Google search works. Google and other search engines compiles information about the trillions of web pages available to the public. It does this with software called a bot, a crawler, or spider. For Google, this is often called Googlebot. Googlebot crawls the web looking for pages of new and updated content. All of that information is then stored in an index. You can think of an index as a gigantic filing cabinet organizing and categorizing all the content Googlebot can find. When you type in a search called a search query, Google goes to that index to find the right matches. Google sorts through all the possible page matches, ranks them for relevance to the search query, and presents a web pages full of results. When people say, I want to be first on Google, it typically means they want their website to rank first, to be listed at the top of the search results page when a searcher types in a word or a phrase. That brings us to Google's search engine results page, or SERP, the place where you want your website to show up. This slide illustrates a typical search results page on a desktop computer. The section highlighted in the center of the page shows where Google's search results can appear, where SEO can make a difference. These results include the information that Googlebot can find and index. They are not ads, and you cannot pay to show up or show up in a prominent position. These results are determined only by their relevance to the search query. SEO is a long game. It can take time to see the impact of SEO improvements. If you think of it in terms of growing your business, you might compare SEO to getting good word of mouth versus running a radio or television ad. Advertising can get your message out quickly and be a worthwhile investment, but you still want to have reach and credibility that comes with building a good reputation. Today's workshop is focused on SEO, but let's take a moment to look at the other sections you may see on a search results page too. At the top of the illustrated search results page on this slide, you will see a text ad. Ads like this can show up above the search results and the bottom, and they are clearly labeled ad. Unlike the search results, where clicks on the results are free, advertisers pay when searchers click on their ads. On the right of the search results page, you see another highlighted section. The content in this area can vary. Sometimes it's blank. Sometimes you will see a box called a knowledge panel that offers more information related to the search query. Sometimes you can see ads for products called shopping ads. In this illustration, you can see a Google Business Profile. Business profiles allow local businesses to surface information in Google search results, as well as Google Maps. Business profiles include info like business address, phone number, hours of operation, customer reviews, and more. Sometimes Google automatically creates business profile by pulling information from the web, but business owners have the option to create or claim their business profile. Once the ownership is verified, they can then manage and update the info that appears. Either way, there's no fee for a business profile. If you're interested in learning more about Google Ads or business profiles, you can view workshops on demand at the Grow with Google on-air website at g.co/growonair. Check out the workshops titled Get Started with Google Ads, Optimize Your Google Ads Campaigns, and Get Your Local Business Online with Google Search and Maps. Let's start with an activity, choosing a web page. You can use your homepage if you like, but I suggest selecting a page that is focused on a single product, service, or topic. You can use this web page during this workshop as I discuss SEO strategies. If you don't have a website, follow along using our example, a product page from www.nersea.com. Mercy & Company is a lifestyle brand based out of Lenexa, Kansas. They sell a variety of clothing and home goods. We're going to focus on one page, the Chelsea Kimono product page. Here's an important note. You do not need to have an e-commerce website. Any website will do. The strategies I talk about today are not related to the type of business you have or the type of website you're working on. As long as you have a web page, you're all set. Now, take a moment and review the content on your chosen web page. Next, open another browser window or tab and visit google.com. Now, think of a word or phrase that best represents the page you chose. It could be the name of the business or organization, a product name, type of service, whatever you have in mind. Once you've chosen your word or phrase, search for it on Google. Did you see your website in the search results? If you don't see it on the first page, click Next at the bottom of the page to see more results. If you do see your site in Google's results, how does it look? Do you like the text being displayed? Is it accurate and compelling? When you click on it, does it take you to the appropriate page on your site? Maybe the web page you chose? If your site does not appear in the results, what's showing up instead? This is useful information to have because it helps you identify your online SEO competitors. Doing searches like this periodically can help you figure out where you might want to focus your SEO efforts and show if your updates are making a difference. Keep your web page example open. I'm going to refer to it in the next section as we explore how you can fine-tune the optimization of your website's content, a technique called content SEO. When you set up your website, you probably put a good deal of thought into the content you wanted customers to see, from product descriptions to company philosophy to answering frequently asked questions. Content SEO is simply looking for ways to ensure that Google understands the content you publish so that it can deliver relevant search results. This is where keywords become important for SEO. Again, keywords are the phrases or words that people type in when they search. The technical term for the search keyword is a search query. If a searcher's query includes keywords that are prominent in your website content, you have a better chance of appearing in search results. Before I get into the best practices for making your content search friendly, let's see if the following statements are true or false. Write your guesses in the chat. Number 1, if I use the right keywords, web traffic will grow overnight. And the answer is false. Unfortunately, adding keywords doesn't equate to overnight success. Keywords are important, but they aren't magic. Search traffic takes time to grow. Number 2, my website must rank first in Google search results to succeed. Again, the answer is false. Your website doesn't need to be the first result to succeed online. While ranking first for a keyword is never a bad thing, the truly important measure of success is increased traffic to your site. And number 3, my site needs to rank for broad, high-volume keywords like sweater. This is false. If you only include general terms on your website, there is less likelihood for high ranking because there will be a lot of competition. Compare the search results for a general term like sweater to something more specific like cashmere kimono sweater, and you'll see the difference. Generic terms might get more search traffic, but they are more difficult to rank for and may be less likely to convert, a lower return on investment. Are you ready to incorporate content SEO strategies for your website? I broke the process into the following steps. Review your site's content, create a keyword strategy, categorize your keywords, incorporate those keywords into the links and body copy of your site, and implement the changes live. Let's walk through the process, focusing on one web page. Your first step is to cast a critical eye on the current content on your site. You may find the copy straightforward, but remember, you may be more knowledgeable about this topic than some of your searchers. You probably know more about the business and the brand, so it's possible that the phrases and words you use to write the website may not match with the searcher's query. Try to think like your customer you want to reach, a person who may be unfamiliar with your products, services, or brand. What are they searching for? Is it as broad as cashmere sweater or more detailed, like women's kimono cashmere sweater? Are they looking for eco-friendly fashion, cashmere wraps, plus size? Assess each page of your website. If someone is searching for kimono-style sweaters, you may want to help Google find and surface the page for the Chelsea kimono sweater. Keep in mind, the more generic a keyword is, the more difficult it will be for your web page to appear in high positions in search results. Grab a pen and paper or open a Google Doc. Now jot down 3 words or phrases that describe your chosen web page. Try to think of keywords that could show this web page in Google's results. Again, if you don't have your own website, no problem. Just choose a web page from a site you like, or use our example, Mercy.com. Let's move on and discuss developing a keyword strategy. There are many keyword research tools available. In this workshop, we'll show you Google Keyword Planner. This is a tool within Google Ads. It does require that you create a Google Ads account. Google Ads will ask you to enter a credit card when you set up the account, but there is no fee to open the account, and you do not need to advertise. You can simply set up the account and use it to access the Google Keyword Planner tool. Keyword Planner can suggest keywords related to your business, plus show you how often these keywords show up in Google search results. You can use this tool to research keywords. Ideally, you want to identify keywords with relatively high search volume that are specific to your web pages, but don't automatically dismiss ideas that don't rate at the top. Mercy might use Google Keyword Planner to find keywords related to kimono. Using the tool, they could see keyword ideas like boho kimono, kimono duster, and modern kimono. Reminder, these are just ideas. Not every suggestion will apply to your web page. Here's another tool, Google Trends. Trends can help you research keyword themes and compare the relative popularity of different searches on Google over time. The data is presented in a graph on a scale from 0 to 100, with 100 representing peak search volume. If it has enough data, Trends can show related popular searches and rising searches, searches experiencing significant growth. You can use it to compare the popularity of different words and phrases, to find patterns of seasonality, and to see where searches happen geographically. For example, a business called Tea Drops used Google Trends to research how people in the US search for bubble tea. Using Google Trends, they learned that on the West Coast, more people search for the word boba more frequently than on the East Coast. On the East Coast, more people search for the term bubble tea. That information can really be useful as you publish content on your site. If you were trying to optimize a page for Mercy.com, you could do a similar research. For example, depending on where you live in the world, you might call Mercy's Chelsea kimono a sweater. In other regions, you might call it a jumper. The screenshot on this slide compare the search volumes for sweater versus jumper. In the first screenshot, focus on the US, sweater is more popular. But as you see in screenshot number 2, in the United Kingdom, the keyword jumper is the leader. If you were optimizing web pages for a UK audience, this information would be incredibly useful. For more insights like this, visit google.com/trends. After making your list of keywords, think about how to apply each page of your site and how to map them. Mercy's products are promoted as being great for travelers, so the keyword travel sweater might be a good fit to map to Mercy's Sweater and Tees product page. A more specific keyword like kimono travel sweater might be a good keyword to map to Chelsea kimono product page. Try to identify and map 3 unique keywords for each page and prioritize them. Which is the primary term that you believe will bring customers to your web page? Second, third? If you identify an important keyword related to your business, but your site doesn't have a web page that maps to it, make it a new web page. It could be a blog post or an about page. But if it's a priority keyword, it needs a solid place to exist on your website. Your website has a number of different spots where incorporating keywords can help with your SEO efforts. First, we'll look at page titles. As you click through the pages of a website, you'll see the page title in the tab at the top of the web browser window. It's above the actual web page, part of the frame around the page. Page titles may show up in the words that link to the page in Google search results, as shown in the example on the slide, Chelsea Kimono Mercy. Every web page should have a unique title, reflecting what visitors will find when they get there. Keep titles short and to the point. This is not the page to use flowery language or hilarious pun. You're looking to inform, not entertain. Your content management system, WordPress or Shopify, are some great examples. May automatically generate page titles when web pages are created, but most content management systems allow you to edit them. Okay, time for you to try writing a page title. Refer back to the web page you chose on your site. Again, ideally not the home page. If you don't have a site, pick a page on www.mercy.com. Now try writing a descriptive page title. Remember, you want the title to be unique for the web page. Try to include one or more of your keywords that you chose. Keep your page title short. Shoot for about 50 characters, including spaces, dashes, punctuation, and the individual letters. Let's take 1 minute to try and write it out. Each one of your web pages can also include a meta description. Meta description does not appear on the web page itself. It's part of the HTML code. However, it can appear in Google search results. While adding a meta description doesn't necessarily improve SEO, it's important because the text that appears in the search results can influence a searcher's decision whether or not to click that link. You can see how this works in the example from the Mercy website. The top box on the slide shows the meta description in the HTML code. The box below shows how that description would appear in the search results. The meta description should be concise. If it's too long, the words may be cut off in the search results, as seen in the example here. If you are writing the HTML code, the description is found in the content part of the meta tag. Most content management systems offer the ability to edit descriptions. In this case, you won't need to write the HTML code because the CMS handles it for you. Now, take that same page you just wrote a title for and write a page description. An example is highlighted in yellow on the slide for you. Try to include your keywords and be descriptive. Write incomplete sentences, but keep it concise. Aim for 150 or less characters. Remember, this is your sales pitch. You want to convince a potential customer to click on the link to your website in the search results. Let's take 90 seconds to write it out. One SEO myth is that repeating keywords in your copy can help with SEO. That's called keyword stuffing, and it leads to a sentence like, "Our travel sweaters are the travel sweaters that people who love travel sweaters turn to when they need a travel sweater." Don't do that. It won't help, and it's more likely to hurt. However, you do want to include your keywords in your content, right naturally, for human visitors. Visitors often skim the content to find what they're looking for, so make your content easy to digest, with useful information in various formats. Make sure the on-page title fits the theme of the web page, and better yet, includes an important keyword. This example from Mercy is titled Chelsea Kimono. It vividly describes the sweater, how it feels, how it looks, how it can be worn. It includes photos from various angles that can be enlarged. The web page includes customer reviews, a star rating, and related products too. The link text that a user clicks on to get from one page to another is called an internal link. Internal links serve as important guides to help visitors navigate through your site, and they offer another way to incorporate your keywords to your content. A section of the Mercy homepage, shown in the slide, features a photo and description of one of their products, the Lisbon Traveler Sweater. The link says, "Shop the Lisbon," and clicking that link brings shoppers to the Lisbon product page. When drafting the copy for internal links, make it clear to users where the link will take them. Use descriptive, accurate phrases. Use keywords when possible, and avoid generic copy like "learn more" or "click here." Okay, let's put some of these tips into action. Take another look at the web page you chose earlier and focus on the content. Can you improve the copy? What about the copy and the links to the other pages on the site? Does your headline incorporate keywords? Are there other types of content you could include? More images, videos, user manuals, and so on. And the final step, implementation. After reviewing your content, researching and choosing keywords, revising body copy, page titles, and meta descriptions, send your work live. If you use a content management system, you may be able to do this yourself. Otherwise, your web development team can help you. But remember, especially when it comes to SEO, a website should not remain static, and you'll want to review and create new content on a regular basis. Everything we've discussed so far was related to the content of your website. Now let's look at how Google interprets your site and the importance of technical SEO. Technical SEO refers to the ways you can adjust your website code and configuration to help Google find, understand, display, and improve your web pages. Even if you don't deal with the technical side of your site, having a deeper understanding of how technical SEO works can lead to more productive discussions with your web development team and potentially better ranking in search results. At the start of this workshop, I talked about how Googlebot crawls, indexes, and ranks your website content. Technical SEO is a way to help Google in those efforts by improving efficiency, quality, and speed. It's a bit like upgrading to a new computer. You get a better, faster response to your commands. Here's how technical SEO helps. It makes it easier for Google to find your content when it crawls the web. It allows Google to interpret the content of your web pages better. It ensures that your pages are getting in front of the people who are searching for your content, and it improves the user experience for your website visitors. Before I get into the details, let's look at some of the common issues that technical SEO improvements can address. First, some people say that they feel frustrated because Google search will not show their website, and that may be true. In order to show your website in the search results, Google must first find and index the web pages. We'll introduce a tool in a few minutes called Google Search Console that can help submit your content to Google. Second, people are frustrated because their website loads too slowly to rank well in Google search results. This is particularly relevant for mobile search, where speed is an important factor. We'll introduce another tool called Test My Site that can help you learn what specific technical changes can be used to speed up your web pages. And third, people ask why their web pages aren't getting much traffic. If your web page is indexed, but getting minimal traffic, it might be that you need to give it some time. Implementing suggestions from this workshop, Content and Technical, is a good starting point. FYI, you may hear a lot of technical terms in this upcoming section that are new to you. Hang in there. They are valuable because they can help you better understand how technical SEO works. Okay then, onward. We've gone over what technical SEO means. Now, let's dive into how it works. In this section, we will look at ways to help Google find your content, understand your content, display content to your preferred audience. We'll also show you ways to improve the user experience for visitors to your site, which can have a real impact on visibility in search results. Googlebot finds new pages on a website the same way most people do. It follows the links from one page to the next. You can think of it like Hansel in the fairy tale, leaving a trail of white pebbles. This trail of links, not pebbles, helps Google find more web pages. So it's a good idea to include those internal links where you can, wherever it makes sense, on your website. The Mercy page shown here features new winter arrivals, with links to product pages for each individual sweater. Here we pulled out and highlighted the link labeled Shop the Catalina Sweater. This internal link could assist Google finding and indexing the web page. Once you've created and added a sitemap to your website, the next step is for Googlebot to find that sitemap and use it when next crawling your web pages. There's a tool that can help you kickstart the process, Google Search Console. Search Console, once known as Webmaster Tools, is a tool that includes a number of features that help with SEO, including the ability to submit a sitemap so that Google knows it's there and ready. You can create a free Search Console account at g.co/Search Console. Important note, you don't have to sign up for Search Console to be included in Google search results, and having this tool will not improve the likelihood of your pages ranking higher in search. Google's job is to find relevant content for searchers, so it will crawl everything it can on a website unless given direction to do otherwise. That's where robots.txt comes in. It's a file that tells Googlebot what it can and cannot crawl on the site. In the process of creating your site, your web team may have set up a robots.txt file to block certain pages in order to avoid confusion. However, if you find that one or more of your web pages is not indexed, it's worthwhile to check if it was blocked by mistake. To learn more about making a robots.txt file, visit developers.google.com and search for Create a robots.txt file. Too technical? Ask your web developer to give you a hand. One important note, robots.txt is not a mechanism for keeping web pages out of Google search results. In other words, don't rely on robots.txt to hide your web pages. If you want to block your page from search results, use another method such as password protection or a meta tag called noindex. When Google next crawls the page and sees the noindex tag, Google will drop that page entirely from Google search results, regardless of whether other websites link to it. You know how your trusty yellow highlighter lets you get straight to the important points in a dense paper? Structured data works the same way for website code, helping Google understand content efficiently. Adding structured data can help your site stand out in search results by helping Google highlight important content. When you searched last, you may have noticed pieces of information that were pulled out or layered on top of typical information in the results, the title, link, and description. These extra details are called rich results, or also called rich snippets. Rich results are basically enhanced versions of standard text search results. You can see details like an image, a price, average customer rating, and more. For example, the structured data pictured on this slide highlights the product's price and whether or not it's in stock. This is the HTML code that Google will see. The next slide shows what a human could see. And here's an example of how that structured data could look in the search results. This extra info helps searchers get more valuable information at a glance, so they can make a more informed decision about which results to click on. Bottom line, incorporating structured data can improve SEO by helping your website stand out on a search results page and encouraging more click-through. And now that you know what structured data is, you might ask, how do I know if my website has it? Well, there's a tool for that. The Rich Results Testing tool from Google lets you test your web page to see if its content is properly coded to be eligible to appear as rich results. The test results can be a bit technical, so the tool might be most useful for your web development team. You can find it at search.google.com/test/rich-results. Once you open the tool, enter the URL of a web page for your site, run the test, and see what it says. You can check preview results to see how rich results may appear. If you get no results, consider adding structured data where you want it. When your website is set up, there's a good chance some pages have one version for desktop viewers and another for smartphone viewers. It's also possible that a single page can be reached by multiple URLs for perfectly valid reasons like tracking codes, session IDs, etc. Google looks for the most complete and useful version of each web page it indexes. If it finds duplicate content, it has to figure out what to do with it. You can help by telling Google which URL should be indexed. Canonical link elements guide Googlebot to the version of the web page you want it to rank and index. A canonical page is crawled more regularly. Duplicate pages are crawled less frequently. For SEO, that means you can specify which URL you want people to see in search results. In the example from Mercy shown on this slide, they have chosen www.mercy.com/products/thechelseakimono as the preferred URL. Canonical elements help Googlebot to focus on the important content, indexing the authoritative pages rather than different versions of the same page. Remember how we constructed simple and straightforward page titles in the Content SEO section? That same philosophy applies to URL structure for technical SEO. The URL structure shows Google how a user can navigate your site. Let's say they start with Mercy's homepage, www.mercy.com. From there, they may scroll down the page and click on the Chelsea kimono. The URL is www.mercy.com/products/the-chelsea-kimono. The name of the page helps Google understand its content and how it fits into the website as a whole. Most content management systems offer an option to edit web page URLs. Here's a few best practices to help you optimize your URL structure. Follow the site's folder structure, which serves as a navigation map. Separate words with hyphens rather than running them together as one word. That can avoid confusion. For instance, the Chelsea kimono as one word is not as clear as the-Chelsea-kimono. Place short words like and, the, or a with hyphens. Use lowercase letters and avoid special characters. Clearly describe what the web page contains. Helping Google better understand your site in this way can help improve its ranking in the search results. If you own a business that serves regions with multiple languages, you may have created versions of your web page in various languages, perhaps English and Spanish in the United States, and English and French in Canada. And of course, you want people who search in those languages to find you and find the web pages written in the corresponding languages. Adding hreflang annotations lets Googlebot know which language a page uses and helps Google display the correct page in the search results. Here, the hreflang annotation at the top of the slide specifies ENUS, that is, English results in the United States. If the hreflang annotation specifies ESUS, that indicates the page is written in Spanish and intended for a US audience. If the annotation said ES, it would indicate the page was written in Spanish and intended for Spain. If it was ES, it would indicate English language intended for Spain. Incidentally, the region is optional. You could omit that part of the annotation and just indicate the language of the web page. But you can use hreflang to address regional language differences too. Remember the Google Trends tool we discussed earlier? Comparing the search volume for the keyword sweater to the keyword jumper? If Mercy wanted to market its sweaters to shoppers in England, it would probably substitute the common British term for sweaters, jumpers, in pages tailored for the UK audience. The hreflang annotation ENGB could help them do just that. You probably had the experience of clicking on a page that interests you only to abandon it because it loads too slowly. Images are often the culprit here. Here are some tips that can speed up the time it takes to load images on your page. First, compress images. That means you're reducing the file size, the amount of space it takes to store an image. Second, use lazy loading. That means delaying loading the image until it is needed. For example, if a user won't see an image until they scroll down a page, the image won't load until the user scrolls down to that spot. Third, properly sizing your image. That is the actual dimensions of the image. If you use HTML to make a gigantic image file appear smaller to fit the page, it would take the web page longer to load because it's still a large file squeezed into a small spot. And finally, caching. This is a way to store images so they are retrieved quickly when your web pages load. Speeding up the load time of your site improves the user experience, which can lead to more visits and longer visits. When you include an image to your website, you have two distinct ways for visitors to understand it. Descriptions, some of you out there might call these captions, and alt text. Descriptions are visible. They appear on the page with the image. Alt text, an abbreviation for alternative text, is separate from the description. It's a sort of behind-the-scenes label for an image on a web page. Humans cannot see alt text on the page, but it is visible to screen readers, an assistive technology that can help people with vision impairments. Alt text should clearly describe what appears in the image in the context of the page. If the image shown is purely decorative, not necessary to understanding the page, the alt text should be left blank. A person using a screen reader will hear the alt text description of the image read aloud, giving them a fuller understanding of the information on the page. Alt text also helps search engine properly categorize the content of the web pages, potentially improving the site's SEO. Most content management systems include the option to write alt text for the images you add to web pages. Let's look at one more tool that can help with technical SEO. As I mentioned, your website speed is extremely important, especially on mobile devices. Google's Test My Site tool does just that. Test your site and evaluates the user experience on a mobile device. Test My Site will tell how quickly your site loads on mobile on a 4G connection. It also offers personalized recommendations for ways to improve the site for visitors. To try it out, go to g.co/testmysite and type your web address into the blank field. The tool will scan your website and tell you, among other things, the average load time for your site. It also offers a rating. For example, a website that loads in 2.5 seconds or less is considered good. The tool will provide recommendations to improve speed, personalization, and conversions. You also have the option to enter your email address and receive a report with details that you can share with your web development team. In a moment, I'll answer some common questions about SEO, but before that, I'll wrap this up with a recap, suggestions for your next steps, and a list of resources you will want to learn more about search engine optimization. If you're feeling like this workshop was information overload, remember, you can rewatch it as much as you'd like by clicking on demand from the Grow with Google on your homepage. Remember these key takeaways for content SEO. Review. Read each page of your website with your customers in mind. Does the content include words and phrases, keywords, they would use to search for you? Research. Develop a keyword list. Use Google Keyword Planner to get ideas. Strategize. Choose primary, secondary, and tertiary keywords for each page on your website. Draft. Incorporate keywords throughout your site. including headlines, page titles, meta descriptions, internal links, and body copy. Implement. Once you're happy with your search-friendly updates, push them live to your website. And for technical SEO, discover. Help Google find your content by creating and submitting a sitemap. Incorporate internal links and publish a robots.txt file to help Google know which pages to crawl. Understand. Help Google understand your content by using structured data, avoiding duplicate content with canonical links, and creating a logical URL structure. Display. Help Google display content to your preferred audience, language, location, or both with hreflang annotations. And improve. Make the user experience better by optimizing images. This can help your website look faster. Include alt text that improves the accessibility of your site. Use Test My Site tool to check your website speed and get suggestions for improvement. Take one moment and think about all the topics we covered today. Can you write down at least one thing that you will do next? The start of your action plan? If you'd like to share, please type it into the chat box. I mentioned many Google tools and resources that can help with SEO. Here's a list: Keyword Planner, Google Developers, Google Search Console, the Rich Results Testing Tool, and Test My Site. Make some time in your schedule to explore these resources that can help with your SEO work. Google's central hub of SEO information is called Google Search Central. You can get there by visiting developers.google.com/search. It has tons of information, including a quick start guide for beginners and resources designed for business owners, marketers, developers, and SEO professionals. If you're not sure where to start, this is the place. If you want to sharpen your business and marketing skills, check out Primer. This is a free app you can download to your phone. If you have an Android device, you can download it at Google Play. If you have an Apple device, you can download it from the App Store. Primer is a series of short, fun lessons that are all less than 5 minutes each. We've added a link to Primer in the resources section where you can access the video player on the right-hand side. This session was brought to you by Grow with Google, an initiative that helps people prepare for work, find jobs, and grow their business. Job seekers can grow their skills in order to find new jobs and advance their careers. Teachers can learn how to put the latest technology to work inside and outside of the classroom. Small business owners can build their online presence and find new customers. Startups can learn how to get their ideas the exposure they need to succeed. Developers can sharpen their current skills and master new ones. To learn more, visit google.com/grow. And now it is time for Q&A. Our first common question is, I'd rather hire someone else to do the SEO work for my website. Any tips on choosing a company? This is often a route many businesses will take, since doing SEO can take quite a bit of time, and you may need some help if you don't have the resources. I will say that the basics in this training and guides on Google Search Central gives you what you need to start. If you need more help, Search Central has a handy guide on choosing an SEO. You can search Google for Google Search Central, click on the result, and click on documentation in the navigation bar. And there you will see an option for, do you need an SEO? But at a high level, you want to be sure that you have initial goals in mind. Who do you want to reach on your site? And what do you want them to do when they get there? This will help whoever you talk to have something else to go on. You also need to be sure you can actually make changes on the site that they recommend. You should interview them, get references, and finally make sure they know Google's guidelines and adhere to them. Remember, no one can guarantee rankings. Again, all this and more is on Google Search Central. Can you explain the difference between Google Search Console and Google Analytics? At a high level, Search Console is a tool from Google that can help anyone with a website to understand how they're performing on Google Search and what they can do to improve their appearance on search to bring more relevant traffic to their websites. Search Console provides information on how Google crawls, indexes, and serves websites. It contains tools that you can use to help you and Google Search understand your site, get data about your site from search, including keywords visitors use, and reports on problems and issues. Google Analytics provides data about the site once a user visits from search or other places. It gives you information on your visitors, where they're spending their time, and more. so you can see what's working and what's not. Search Console and Analytics provides a comprehensive and complementary view of your visitors. My site is 15 years old, and I'd like to redesign it, but I'm afraid of losing my presence on Google. Any tips? There are some basic tips for you to follow to help Google understand any changes you make to your site. If you are keeping the same URLs or website address and simply updating the content, then you can use tools on Google Search Console to help ensure Google can understand your new content. If you are moving pages to a new URL or even moving to a new domain, you want to set redirects, which tell Google that the page has moved. You also want to update your sitemap with the new page addresses to tell Google about them. Finally, you can use Search Console to monitor how Google is understanding your changes. For more detailed information, go to the Advanced SEO section of Google Search Central. Is there a particular website platform that is better for SEO? There isn't any specific platform that is better than others. However, when choosing a platform, you want to make sure it can do a few basic things to support your SEO. This includes the ability to show content formatted for different devices like a laptop, tablet, and smartphone. Additionally, it's great to have a platform that can add tags or code easily to the page that we covered in this training, such as a title tag, meta description, alt tag, structured markup, and more. Finally, the platform should be able to support HTTPS to help ensure a secured connection for your users. What is more important, content or technical SEO? These two concepts are actually equally important and should be done together. Without technical SEO, Google may not be able to find your site, crawl your site, and index your site, and therefore never have the opportunity to rank. Without content SEO, Google may not understand what your site is about, and therefore not appear in search results for queries that are important to you. I recently changed my business website URL. Will this affect my SEO? If so, what other steps should I take? This is similar to the previous question. In this case, you should redirect pages from your old website to your new website. A redirect will tell Google about the change and will help users get there too. There are different types of redirects. The most common in this case is a 301 redirect, which tells Google that the change is permanent. Additionally, you should add the URLs from the new website to your sitemap and tell Google about that sitemap as it may have changed locations. What is AMP? How important is it? AMP is a framework that allows easy creation of websites and more. From an SEO perspective, it is often considered as a way to build faster pages, which is important for users and your business. But AMP is not the only way to speed up your website. You can learn more about AMP at developers.google.com/AMP. What is HTTPS and how important is it? HTTPS, or Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure, is a protocol to send data between a web browser and website securely. Google recommends all websites use HTTPS so users can feel more confident when interacting with your website. You can learn more by going to the Advanced section on Google Search Central and choosing Optimize Your Page Experience and then Security from the menu on the left. What is LCP and how important is it? LCP, or Largest Contentful Paint, is one way to tell how fast a website is loading by measuring when the main content of the page has loaded. LCP is part of a larger set of metrics called Core Web Vitals, which provides a view into overall user experience of your website. This is important because having fast pages means users get what they are looking for as quickly as possible. We accidentally violated an SEO policy on our website, lost its high ranking on Google. What steps can we take to get it back? I'm sorry to hear this, but there are some steps you can take to help figure out what to do next. In these cases, you probably learned about the violation via a message from Search Console. Search Console is a way to understand what might have happened, and you can use it to submit for reconsideration after a fix has been made. Review the message from Google carefully, as there may have been some directions on what to do next. You can also visit the Advanced SEO section on Search Central to learn more about the search guidelines and use that information to help troubleshoot. Good luck. All right, this wraps up the Q&A. Thank you for joining us for Drive Traffic to Your Website with SEO. We hope you've enjoyed the workshop and learned something new. You can find the follow-up resources on this page in the Resources tab below the video player. And you can access a recording of today's session by clicking On Demand at g.co/grow on air. We have a favor to ask. You'll soon receive a follow-up email with a survey. If you could take a few minutes and give us your feedback about this workshop, we'd be grateful. We use it to improve sessions and choose future topics. Thanks again for joining Grow with Google today. See you next time.
And thank you for joining us at our Lunch and Learn watch party here at Somerset County Library. If you found this video helpful, stay tuned to our Facebook page for more events like this. We do occasionally do a Lunch and Learn video similar to this on other topics that might be related to your small business. So keep a watch on our events page, and we hope to see you again soon.